Ladies and gentlemen, a powerful truth echoes across the globe today. The world no longer looks at India as a silent spectator, but as a force that cannot be ignored. Why does the world both respect and fear India today? Because India has risen with conviction, courage, and clarity of purpose. India is no longer a silent spectator because it has stepped into a role where its actions, voice, and vision have begun to influence the global stage in ways that were unimaginable a few decades ago. For a long time, the world often viewed India as a country of immense potential, but also one that remained in the background when it came to shaping international policies or driving global conversations. That perception has now shifted dramatically. India has moved beyond the sidelines and placed itself at the center of global dialogues whether in matters of security, economy, technology, or diplomacy. This transformation did not happen overnight. It is the result of decades of perseverance, reforms, and a growing realization that silence no longer serves the nation's interests in a world defined by power and influence. India has always carried a rich heritage, a strong cultural identity, and an unmatched civilizational depth, yet for years it remained restrained, often choosing observation over assertion in global matters. But the realities of the modern world demanded change. The rise of new threats, shifting power structures, and the increasing importance of Asia compelled India to assert its rightful position. Today, when discussions about global peace, trade, and security take place, India is not simply present, it is leading, negotiating, and influencing outcomes. Its stance on issues such as climate change, regional stability, and technological innovation reflects a nation unwilling to remain quiet when its voice can guide progress. This assertiveness is visible in multiple dimensions. In diplomacy, India has strengthened ties with major powers while maintaining independence in its decision-making, refusing to be dictated by external pressures. In defense, it has modernized its capabilities, ensuring that its sovereignty is respected and its borders secure. In economics, India's growth trajectory has made it one of the largest and fastest growing markets, attracting global investments and shifting the balance of trade discussions. In technology and innovation, India is no longer following trends, it is setting them with achievements in space exploration, digital infrastructure, and research that have captured worldwide attention. The shift from silence to influence is also seen in how India handles regional conflicts and global crises. Where once it might have observed from afar, now it takes decisive stands, offering solutions, extending humanitarian aid, and voicing concerns with clarity. Nations across the world now anticipate India's response because it carries weight and consequence. The image of India as merely a developing country waiting for direction has been replaced by that of a confident, self-reliant, and ambitious power that shapes its own destiny and contributes to shaping the destiny of others. That India's journey from a silent spectator to an active global participant is a story of transformation rooted in resilience, vision, and determination. It has realized that silence can be mistaken for weakness, and observation without action can mean exclusion from decision-making. By choosing to raise its voice and take a stand, India has ensured that it is no longer overlooked, but is instead regarded as a nation whose role is indispensable in the narrative of the world. that respect is earned through resilience because true admiration is never granted freely. It is built through the strength to endure, to overcome that, and to rise stronger after every challenge. Resilience is the ability to remain unshaken when the storms of life strike, that the courage to keep moving forward when the path is uncertain, and the determination to rebuild when everything seems broken. That respect does not come from privilege, power, or titles alone. It comes from the unyielding spirit that refuses to be defeated. That the world respects those who bend but do not break, those who stumble but find the strength to rise again. That those who face hardship with dignity and transform pain into progress. When people witness resilience, they see more than survival. That they see the reflection of strength, discipline, and character. It is easy to respect success that comes effortlessly. But it is the success born from endurance and persistence that truly commands admiration. Resilience teaches lessons that no comfort can provide. That it shows that no setback is permanent, no loss defines the future, and no challenge is greater than the will to overcome it. That this is why the ones who have faced countless trials yet continue to stand are held in the highest regard by the world. That their story becomes proof that respect is not bought. It is earned through a journey of endurance and courage. That history is filled with examples of resilience shaping respect. Nations that endured decades of struggle for freedom. That leaders who faced opposition yet never abandoned their vision. Individuals who rose from poverty, discrimination, or failure to achieve greatness, all have gained respect not because of ease, but because of the hardships they conquered. That resilience transforms weakness into wisdom, wounds into strength, and scars into symbols of honor. That it builds trust in others because they know a resilient person or nation will not collapse under pressure, but will keep pushing forward regardless of obstacles. That resilience also inspires others. When people see someone fighting against overwhelming odds and refusing to give up, it awakens admiration and a deep respect within their hearts. It shows that strength is not about never falling, but about rising every single time. This unbreakable spirit becomes a source of hope and motivation for others who face their own battles. That respect flows naturally towards those who prove, through their resilience, that nothing can destroy a determined soul. That respect earned through resilience is lasting because it is not based on fear, wealth, or temporary achievements. It is rooted in authenticity, in the undeniable truth that the person or nation has endured storms and still stands tall. That endurance creates a legacy of strength that commands respect across time and generations. That the world does not bow to those who never faced trials. It bows to those who faced them and emerged stronger. That is why resilience is the foundation of true respect, because it proves that strength is not found in avoiding hardship, but in enduring it with courage and rising with greater power than before. That India has mastered balance because it has learned to walk the fine line between strength and peace, tradition and modernity, independence and cooperation, all while maintaining its unique identity. In a world where extremes often dominate, that balance is the quality that sets India apart, allowing it to be both firm and flexible, powerful yet peaceful. This mastery is not accidental, but the result of centuries of wisdom, cultural depth, and an ability to adapt without losing essence. India has shown that true power lies not in choosing one side of the scale, but in holding both with stability and conviction. On the international stage, India has proven its ability to balance diplomacy with defense. It engages in partnerships with world powers, that, building strong alliances for trade security and innovation, yet it does so without compromising its independence. India values dialogue, but when necessary, it demonstrates decisive action to protect its sovereignty and interests. This balance ensures that while India seeks peace, that it is not mistaken for weakness, and while it maintains strength, it is not perceived as reckless. The world respects this equilibrium, that recognizing India as a nation capable of negotiation without submission and defense without aggression. Domestically, that India balances rapid modernization with its deep-rooted traditions. It embraces technology, innovation, and progress, that rising as a global leader in digital transformation, space exploration, and industrial growth. At the same time, that it preserves its cultural heritage, languages, spirituality, and timeless values. That this ability to innovate without losing identity allows India to move forward while staying grounded. That it proves that modern progress need not erase ancient wisdom, and that development is strongest when it flows from cultural strength. That India has also mastered the balance between democracy and diversity, with a population of more than 1 billion people, multiple religions, cultures, and languages. India is a living example of coexistence. Its democratic framework gives every community a voice, ensuring unity without uniformity. That this harmony among diversity is not easy to maintain, yet India continues to demonstrate that true strength lies in embracing differences while building collective progress. That the ability to maintain stability within complexity is one of the most profound balances India has achieved. In the realm of economy and society, that India balances ambition with compassion. It seeks growth, prosperity, and global leadership while also focusing on uplifting the marginalized, that empowering women and ensuring opportunities for the youth. By striving to combine progress with inclusivity, that India shows that balance is not only about managing power, but also about creating fairness and justice in society. That India's mastery of balance reflects an understanding that extremes create instability, but equilibrium creates endurance. That it knows that peace without strength invites danger, and strength without peace invites destruction. By choosing both, that India has crafted a path where it commands respect while avoiding unnecessary conflict, where it grows rapidly while remaining rooted, and where it leads globally while staying true to its identity. That this balance has become the foundation of its resilience, and the reason why the world sees India as both a trusted partner and a formidable power. That the world listens when India speaks because its voice today carries weight, authority, and credibility built over decades of resilience, progress, and wisdom. For a long time, that India was seen as a country with potential, but often overlooked in decision-making processes that shape the global order. That perception has now changed, and the transformation is unmistakable. That India's words resonate not only because of its growing economic and military strength, but also because of the values it represents and the balanced approach it brings to international challenges. That when India speaks, it speaks not just for itself, but often for the aspirations of millions in the developing world, that for the principles of democracy and for the cause of peace combined with strength. On global platforms such as the United Nations, the G20, and climate summits, India's statements are not ignored as mere opinions, but are taken as guiding perspectives. That it stand on issues like climate change, sustainable development, digital innovation. And counterterrorism is heard with seriousness because the world understands that India does not speak in isolation. It speaks with the experience of a vast and diverse nation that has faced challenges and overcome them. When India raises concerns about global equity, energy security, or fair trade, that it is seen as the voice of billions who seek justice in an unequal world order. That this is why its words find resonance not only with other governments, but also with people around the world who look for fairness and balance in global leadership. That India's voice is amplified further by its ability to maintain independence in its choices. That in an age where many nations align themselves strictly with one global bloc, India has charted its own path. That it maintains friendships with the West, while also engaging with Russia, the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. That this independent stance makes its voice uniquely credible because it is not seen as speaking on behalf of someone else's agenda, but for its own principles and interests. That when India speaks, nations listen because they know its words are guided by balance, not bias by reason, not pressure. That India also commands global attention through its achievements, whether it is its success in launching satellites at record-breaking costs. That its breakthroughs in digital transformation like the Aadhaar and UPI systems, or its contributions to medicine and technology, that India's actions amplify its words. That the world listens because it knows India does not merely talk about possibilities. It demonstrates them through results. That its leadership during crises, such as providing vaccines and humanitarian aid to other nations, that further strengthens its reputation as a country whose words are backed by meaningful action. That perhaps the greatest reason the world listens when India speaks is because of the moral foundation that underlies its voice. That it represents a civilization rooted in values of peace, coexistence, and respect for all life. That, while simultaneously showing the courage to defend its sovereignty and dignity, that the combination of ancient wisdom and modern strength makes its words both inspiring and commanding. When India speaks today, that it is not the echo of a follower, but the voice of a leader, and the world pays attention because it recognizes that voice as one of authority, that balance and vision for the future. India is making history, not just participating, that because it has transitioned from being a nation often seen as a background player to becoming a decisive force, shaping the present and future of the world. That for decades, India's role was frequently perceived as reactive, engaging in global conversations without driving them. Today, that has changed. That India is not waiting for history to unfold. It is writing new chapters through its achievements, choices, and leadership. That this shift is visible across diplomacy, defense, technology, economy, and culture. That where India has become not a follower, but a creator of narratives that define the global order. In the realm of science and technology, that India has shown that it does not merely aspire to catch up with others, but to set new milestones. The success of its space missions, that particularly reaching the moon and Mars with remarkable efficiency, has positioned India among the world's leading space powers. That these achievements are not small contributions to ongoing global efforts, but historic breakthroughs that inspire millions around the world. That India's digital revolution, through initiatives like UPI and Aadhaar, has also redefined how societies can integrate technology with inclusivity, that creating a model that many nations now seek to replicate. Economically, that India is not simply participating in global trade, but actively reshaping it as one of the fastest growing economies. That it has become a hub for investment, innovation, and entrepreneurship. That its rise as a manufacturing and technological powerhouse reflects a country that no longer accepts the role of a mere consumer of progress, but insists on being a producer of it. That each stride in economic growth represents a larger shift in the balance of global power. That marking India as a driver of new opportunities for itself and for the world. On the diplomatic front, that India has taken bold and historic steps that have elevated its global standing. That by maintaining strong ties with diverse nations while holding firm to its independence, India has proven that it does not have to align itself blindly to one bloc to be respected. Its leadership role in forums like the G20, that its push for reforms in the United Nations, and its voice for the global South highlight its determination to influence decisions that shape the world. That these are not acts of participation. They are actions of leadership, of defining new directions for international cooperation. That in defense and security, India has strengthened itself to such a degree that its stance now impacts the strategies of other powers. That its modernization of armed forces, investments in indigenous technology, that an ability to protect its sovereignty have placed it firmly among nations that command both respect and caution. That this security posture does not reflect a nation waiting to be shielded by others, but a nation making history by standing strong in one of the most challenging regions of the world. That culturally and socially, India continues to expand its influence globally through its cinema, philosophy, yoga, literature, and traditions. That India is not only preserving its identity, but exporting it to the world. That creating history by blending ancient heritage with modern global relevance. Each step India takes today reflects leadership, innovation, and determination, proving that it is not just present on the world stage to fill space. It is there to change the script of history itself. That the world respects India's vision and fears its strength because it has emerged as a nation that combines wisdom with power. That peace with preparedness and ambition with responsibility. Vision is what sets leaders apart, and India's vision is not confined to its borders. It extends to shaping the future of humanity. The world respects this vision because it is built on values that are timeless. Democracy, inclusivity, innovation, and balance. India has articulated a path of development that is not exploitative, but sustainable. Not divisive, but unifying, not self-centered, but global in its outlook, whether it is advocating for climate justice, digital inclusion, or equitable trade. India's vision appeals to the conscience of the world, showing that growth can be fair and progress can be shared. That this respect is rooted in the clarity with which India defines its role as a global leader that uplifts not only itself, but also those who look to it for guidance. Yet alongside respect comes fear because vision without strength risks being ignored. And India has ensured that its strength is visible and undeniable. The fear does not stem from aggression, but from the recognition that India has built the capacity to defend its sovereignty, safeguard its interests, and influence the balance of power. Its military modernization, nuclear capabilities, and advancements in space and cyber technology have created a deterrence that no adversary can dismiss. This strength is coupled with resilience, proving time and again that India can withstand pressure, face threats, and respond decisively when challenged. The fear is not about domination, but about the certainty that India is no longer vulnerable or dependent. And any attempt to undermine it will come at a heavy cost. Respect and fear intertwine because India does not wield its strength recklessly, it wields it with purpose. The world knows that India seeks peace, but it also knows that India is fully capable of defending itself and asserting its interests. This balance of vision and strength has created an aura around India that commands admiration while also compelling caution. Other nations are drawn to its inclusive growth model, its technological innovation, and its cultural richness. Yet they also calculate carefully before challenging its rise, knowing that beneath the calm exterior lies a formidable force. that India's vision extends into the future of technology, space, health, and education, presenting models that inspire others. At the same time, that its strength in maintaining internal unity within diversity and sustaining one of the world's largest democracies adds to its global stature. That when India speaks of fairness in global governance or the rights of developing nations, that it is respected because it has lived the journey of struggle and success. When it demonstrates strength at its borders, in its economy, that, or in innovation, it is feared because it shows that it cannot be subdued. That the world respects India for the light it provides and fears India for the fire it holds. And together, that these two forces define its unstoppable rise on the global stage.